Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. In this week's video, we are going to make a ton of synth patches inspired by the artist Anyma on the Novation Peak, and some of the demos sound like this. So let's get into it. I should have called this video how many times can we use a unison saw wave, but it's not going to quite have the same ring to it. So let's get into the first one, and we're going to create the bass patch. And now this is almost like a psytrance bass, and you hear it in a ton of his tracks. But yeah, let's get into it. So for this patch, we are going to use the bass notes from the Ellie Goulding collab that they did for Hypnotized. As you can see, we've just got it on we've got three notes per. This way, it just kind of, it's like imposed sidechain sort of thing, but you can see the notes there. When I was creating this patch, I also put a sidechain on there over the top. So let's get into it. First up, obviously, let's initialize the patch. And that gives us this. So we're going to go oscillator 1 is going to be down to 16 feet. The volume is going to be full. And we're going to keep the saw wave. It's going to be a recurring theme. Oscillator 2 is going to be set to 8. Saw wave, and then the volume is going to be set to full. And then oscillator 3 is non-existent in this patch. As we come across, we're going to go to voice, and this is where it's going to give us our unison options and stuff like that. So click voice, you're going to go unison to 4. You can see we're using 4 voices every time it plays. Detune. We're just going to bring it in a little bit tighter and stack them a little bit closer with those unison voices. And it's a bass, so let's go across to mono 2 there. Next up, we'll look at the filter. Actually, before we do the filter, let's go to the amp envelope. We want it pretty plucky, so we'll go 0 on the attack, 70 on the decay, 0 on the sustain, and then the release, we want it fairly plucky, so we're going to keep that down pretty low at 21. Now we can come across to the filter, where we're going to get most of the information out of it. We're going to go all the way down to 0 on the cutoff, and then I'm going to go up to 54 on the envelope depth, and that envelope is this mod envelope here. So since we've done that, let's go and adjust the mod envelope. 0 for that. We'll go 69 on the decay, no sustain, and then the release, I'm going to pull that down to 34. Overdrive, we're going to give it a little bit more beef, and then also the distortion, you can hear as I bring up the distortion. We'll go 54 on there. And that's it for that patch. Play it with some drums. And you can hear once we bring in the drums, it doesn't feel so like stop-starty. Bring the kick and the rest of the drums in. It gets that nice rhythm a little bit better there. The one thing I do like about this is we have a lot of play with the the cutoff. I know it doesn't really do it in the song, but if you're using a patch like this within your song, just those little movements at the end of like an 8-bar or 16-bar section can help create a little bit more sort of interest within the track and not get so fatigued on just the same thing over and over. Next up is a little ear candy hit that you hear also in the song Hypnotized. It's just like a little low hit that comes in around the same time as the lead. And let's go and initialize the patch. So we just have this super simple little saw wave. So we're gonna go oscillator 1 down to 16. And we're also gonna detune it a little bit on the fine tune. We're gonna go minus 6 on that one, and volume to full, and again, saw wave. Oscillator 2 is gonna be 16 as well. We're gonna go plus 6, volume to full. It's kind of spreading it out a little bit, and this one is also gonna be a saw wave. And then oscillator 3, we're gonna keep it at 8. We'll go volume to full. And we're gonna keep the fine tune in the middle, and again, this is gonna be a saw wave. For the voicing, go back, we're gonna go unison to 8. So we're gonna use all the voices per note. You can hear we got that big sound coming already. And detune, we're gonna detune this one a little bit more. We're gonna go to 58. Want it nice and really spread out. And then again, we're gonna go to mono 2. We're gonna also look at the mixer section. We've got full volume on our 3 oscillators, but we're gonna also add in some noise, give it a bit more roughness. Go 170. You can hear that sort of sizzle on the top. We've done this section. Now let's come across to the amp envelope. We go 2, 1 on the attack. Increase that decay to 90. Sustain is going to be around the same thing, around 93. And then a nice long decay on there to give that tail to kind of help the notes carry into the next section, as you just heard. Next, we're going to look at the filter. Filter cutoff is going to be pretty low at 55, and we're going to use the envelope depth and the mod envelope to give us some more flavor and shape the sound a bit more. So envelope depth, we're going to go to 57, and now we can use this mod envelope here. We're going to go 2 on the attack. Decay is going to be 71, 74 on the sustain, and then the release is going to be 104, 105. Gives us that nice sort of punchy sort of hit to kind of give it, like I said, that ear candy sound. It's not all the time, it's just like at the sort of turnaround points. Next up, we're going to look at some of these effects. We'll go overdrive is going to be 62. And then we're going to add a nice healthy amount of distortion to really beef up the sound. Maybe knock back that distortion. You can hear it breaking up a little bit on the top there. That's pretty good there. So we ended up going with 40. Next, let's look at the effects. We're going to go chorus is going to go, the level is going to be 64. You can hear it's really spreading that sound out if you're using headphones or monitors to listen to this. And the rate, we're going to keep it at 20. We're going to no delay, but then we're going to use the reverb. So the time is going to be set to 90. And then this is where we're going to get a lot of the good sound. So you can hear that tail coming in. Nice sort of sound there. Again, I really love that the filter can be really expressive in these patches. So we got the turnaround coming again. You can really open and close it. And with the music, and again, we can go the other way. If it's just been introduced, bring that filter all the way down. There's a nice little hit in there. Next up, we are going to look at the lead line from Hypnotized, and this is used again in some other ones of his songs, but just a little bit more minimal than this one. This one is a lot going on. So let's initialize the patch. Oscillator 1 we're going to keep at 8 feet, and again we're going to do the same trick where we detune a little bit. We're going to go full volume on all 3 oscillators. Oscillator 2 is going to be set to 4 feet, and we're going to detune that as well. You can hear it's starting to widen out now. And then oscillator 3 is going to go to 16, and they're all sawtooth. We're going to add some noise in there as well. Next we'll go to the voice section. We're going to go to 4 voices, 4 in unison, and keep the detune where it is. And we're going to go to mono 2 on the voicing option there. Next we'll come across to the amp envelope. We're going to go 2 on the attack, 63 on the decay, 69 on the sustain, and then about 73 on the release. And you can hear, gives us a nice sort of open sound. This is going to be the sound when you open that filter. So filter cutoff, we're going to go to 96. And you can hear it's pretty muted now. Envelope depth is going to be 42. And now we can shape this cutoff with this mod envelope. So we'll go 2 on the attack, 83 on the decay, 60 on the sustain, and 69 on the release. So now we've got like a decent sort of sound here. And again, a lot of expression with that filter there. Next we'll start to add some effects in on top. So we're going to go no overdrive and distortion for this one. For the chorus, we're going to set the rate to 20 and just pull down that level to 32. And then the reverb, time is 90, and then the level is 47 there. We can also add some delay in over the top to kind of help the notes tail into each other. We go 64 on the feedback. Time is going to be 64, and then the level You can hear them start to sort of cascade on each other. If I take that reverb off. Now with the music, pull down the volume a little bit. I tried to sort of match it to the song, but for this I would even pull down the actual depth a little bit and the cutoff. Now you can sort of hear it sort of boiling in the background there. So next up is the sort of snappy lead from the track Simulation. This is definitely an inspired version because there's really sharp on the envelopes, and I just couldn't get the same sort of area with this. But we got the general idea, and I don't think I mean, it's really good to make the actual patch and just be like, well, this sounds really good. But I think getting something in the ballpark and then kind of taking that and then moving it a little bit further to the side to make it your own is a little bit better than making the exact. I know that's just an excuse for why didn't you just make the whole thing, but we'll get there. It's all good. So we got the simulation, and for this, it's not perfect, but we have the MIDI for the two sort of sections. Nothing too crazy. A lot of the sound comes from the little skips. We got the 32 note sections and stuff like that. So that's how we can get that sort of really sort of skippy and sharp sort of sound. So let's initialize the patch. We'll go oscillator 1 is going to be set to 8 feet, and then we're going to detune 15. We're going to go full volume on all three. Oscillator 2 is going to be set to 8 feet, and we're going to detune that one 9, so 1 and 2 are detuned from each other. Then oscillator 3 is we're going to go all the way up to 4 feet, and this one's going to be centered. Again, all of them are sawtooth. Come across to the voice. We're going to go 8 feet and 25 on the, 8 voice unison and 25 on the detune. We're going to come across and we're going to go mono 2 on those, and then I think that's it for there. Next we can come to the amp envelope. We're going to go 2 on the attack, 52, 53 on the decay. Sustain is going to be all the way to full, and then the release is going to be 69. Next we can come across to the cutoff. Let's bring the cutoff down to 37. This is going to be our starting point. We'll increase that envelope depth and to all the way to 63. Now, one thing that I found that helps this sound is having the glide on. And actually, we're going to change the voice to mono. So as it goes between those sort of the two notes, so if I open that filter all the way up, and We'll come here. So we got that glide in between. Instead of having to do like a pitch bend or something like that, we kind of want it to be a little bit more gradual. So it's only like one note between them, but that little glide up kind of helps the transition a little bit more. So we've got the glide turned on and we got it set to 82. Let's pull that filter back down again. And we're set to full on the envelope depth. And now we can adjust this miter envelope. When you go 2, decay is going to be pretty sharp, 38, 39. You can hear, kind of gets in the ballpark, like I said, but not quite there. And then, so sustain is going to be set to 16, and then the release is going to be down to 24. We're going to add a nice amount of overdrive. We go 58, and then distortion is going to be set to 70, 72. We're going to add some chorus. The rate's going to stay at 20. And then I'm going to add that chorus up to 64, 65. And that you can hear just widens the sound out a little bit more. And that is about it. Again, I would probably maybe pull down that amp release. And then just play with it. That filter, the cutoff, and the release to kind of get it a little bit more in the ballpark. So with the music, we'll just dial back that volume a little bit. And again, the thing that I love about all these patches, a lot of expression in the filter there. So next up, we're going with the lead sort of main sound from Syren. We'll initialize the patch. Bring up that volume. So oscillator 1 is going to be set to 8, and then we're going to detune that a lot to 17. Go volume full on all 3. Oscillator 2 is going to stay at 8, and that's going to go the other way to 15. So again, doing that big spread again. And then oscillator 3 is going to stay at 8 and it's going to stay centered. We're going to do something a little bit different with this one. So we'll go to oscillator. And we can see we have the bend range here. We're going to change this to +1. We're going to do the same for all of these. So now, just a little bit of movement is giving us a lot of effect there. So that's like a nice way to kind of get a little bit more movement, because if you have it set to the full, to try and control that little amount of sort of pitch drift, it's too crazy. So just setting it to 1 gives us a little amount of control. We can kind of dial it in a little bit with our pitch control on our keyboard. We come to the voice section. we're going to go to 8, and the unison detune, we'll bring that to 10, and mono 2. Next we'll come across to the amp envelope. Okay, to 90, sustain all the way, and then release to 93. And filter is going to be all the way down to 0. Envelope depth, we're going to go, it's pretty much all the way. Then we'll go to the mod envelope. I'm going to do 2. Now you can hear it's really sort of bitey there. We'll go 66. Sustain is going to be around 60. I think release 73, it sounds pretty good there. Next we're going to go to the overdrive and distortion. We'll go back that off of 79 on the overdrive. And then 18 on the distortion. Next we'll look at the effects. Again, the time for the chorus is going to be set to 20. Now I have 62 in the patch, but I think it's a bit better having it a little bit tighter. So 31 on the level there. Reverb, time is a 90, and then just a little bit. So now when I play it, play it with some music. And you can see that with only a small amount of pitch to the pitch wheel, it's a lot easier to control. And there we go. Not perfect, but not too bad either. And the last patch I wanted to show was kind of one that I created as a bit of a variation, and it kind of gives you a little bit of fun with the mod wheel and the pitch wheel. It's kind of a combination of a bunch of the patches together. So I don't have a piece of MIDI. Actually, we can just use this. Pretty basic, but this will do. So oscillator 1, 2, and 3 is going to be set to full. And we can bring the volume down just a little bit. All 3 are going to stay at 18. 1 and 2 are going to be detuned apart from each other like the rest of the patches. Oscillator 3 is going to say center. All sawtooth. And we'll come across to the voice. We're going to go again. 8 voice, and then the detune. Pull that down to 10. And then we're going to go mono 2. We're going to turn glide on. We're going to go to 80 on that. And let's just turn the drums off. We'll come to the amp envelope. Go 2. Go 90 on the decay, full sustain, and then release is going to be set to 40. We're going to pull the cutoff down to about 100. We're not going to use the envelope depth for this one. We're going to use the LFO. So we got that set to 40 for the level. Now we'll come up to LFO 1. We'll set the rate to 159. No fade time, but we're going to go to the saw. So it's going to give us that real bite. You can hear that coming in there. Next, we want to be able to control that and the pitch. So we'll come across to the oscillator to start with. We're set to oscillator 3. We're going to change that to 1 again. Come across to these. Change them to 1. And then we're going to go into the mod matrix. The first time that we've used the mod matrix the whole video. And we're doing the most basic thing. So in mod wheel. And we're going to go to LFO 1 rate. And then we're going to set the depth to 11. So now when I move the mod wheel, let's bring this up a little bit more. So it gives us a little bit more. It's not as tight as the programming that we've seen in the rest of the video, the rest of the patches, because they're like writing the MIDI with 32 notes and everything like that. But this is like a good way to kind of get those extra fills and stuff like that. So, and then alongside the just a little bit amount when we got the single bend range, it gives us a lot to play with there. So nice sort of fun thing to do. So next up we're going to come across, let's look at a little bit of my favorite overdrive, 63, bit of distortion, we'll go 30. Maybe back down that distortion a little bit. And then let's add some chorus. This one I made pretty wide. The rate again is set to 20. A little bit of reverb, and the time again is still set to 90. Now we can play it with the drums. Let's go at this. Let's just make these notes a little bit longer, just for the sake of having something to listen to. The thing that I did really like about this was you would find these little patches where it was like it's like a little bit off there, but we go. Hopefully you got something out of those. Again, all of these techniques can be used on any 3 oscillator synth with a little bit of mod matrix, nice envelopes and all that good stuff. You could then, if it doesn't have distortion and the built-in effects, you could just use plugins. There's no harm in using that. You have a little bit more control. I just wanted to showcase that the Peak can do it all on the actual synth. And again, hopefully this has inspired you to create something today and maybe take some of these ideas and create your own patches to use in your own songs. And until next time, see you later.